Hello, I'm Daniel Vasco and welcome to my office. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the new document issued from the Vatican called Traditionis Custodes, Guardians of Tradition by Pope Francis. This document restricts the traditional Latin Mass, that is, a Mass celebrated by our ancestors, essentially, our grandparents. As early as the 1960s, all Masses were in Latin, but not only in Latin, they were a different rite, according to different rubrics. It was a traditional rite that was codified around the time of the Council of Trent in the 1500s. Okay, that tells you right there that you're going to be more traditional, more conservative if you attend a Tridentine Rite compared to the Novus Ordo, which is the modern Catholic Church, rite. The Novus Ordo is characterized by chaos, essentially. It's characterized by modification on the part of local bishops, even the priests are known to modify clown masses, things to keep people supposedly more interested, less transcendent, okay, and less theologically sound even. Pope Francis essentially restricted the Tridentine Rite, and I say that was inevitable. I mean, his rationale was that too many people in the ancient rite that have frequented the Tridentine Rite held opinions that were contrary to the new theology, basically, the theology of the Second Vatican Council. They were against the Second Vatican Council. Duh. I mean, why else? You go to a Tridentine Rite. So the modernist church is the spirit of the New World Order. It is the spirit, the breath of the New World Order. Okay, it's the breath of the globalists, the elitists. Okay, they preach the gospel of man. In order to do that, they introduce chaos into the church, and chaos into the spirits, into the hearts of the people. So it's a false charity. It's a false gospel. From a constitutional perspective, it gets more interesting. There's the spiritual consequences, which is the true Mass is a better fruit. We've seen that from Cain and Abel. Cain offered the fruits of the earth. Abel offered the meat, the sacrificial meat, and he was heard. Well, same thing with the traditional Mass. The traditional Mass, it's from the Council of Trent. It's given, it's been the food and the sustenance of countless saints throughout the centuries. Okay, so that's the spiritual consequences of it. Constitutionally speaking, as far as our country is concerned, we want religions that the Constitution not pronouncing on a single religion in particular. I mean, I could sit here all day and say that the Catholic Church, the traditional Catholic faith, is the true faith, which I believe. But without pronouncing on a religion, the Constitution wants moral citizens. It wants morally correct citizens. John Adams, for example, said that the Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. Well, that is true. That's exactly what it was made for, because it's not made for anyone else, is what he said. It can't function without a moral people and religious people, he said. So in the case of the two Masses, I mean, what do I want? If I'm, President of the United States, or any leader in society, I want a religion that teaches respect for the Constitution. I want for the law. I want a religion that teaches respect for the orphan, the widow, for the impoverished, going without, austerity, moderation. Basically, everything that the corporate cartels and the giant banks in the world, the multinational corporations and banks, everything that they don't want is what I want a religion that teaches. I want a religion that teaches about the spirit, about sacrifice, and not about money. So essentially what this was Pope Francis putting the clamp down on populism in the church. So we see now that the Biden administration and other people of similar ilk likes to put the crackdown on white supremacy and so forth, that they think is subverting the country, or they try to sell as subverting the country, when there's really no evidence that much of it, if any, even exists. but they're smart in the sense that they got to crack down on somebody. Okay, well, Pope Francis is the same thing with the traditionalist movement. He understands he's got to crack down because the traditional mass is the only one bringing in any money. It's the only one that sells, really, because, I mean, look at the whole modern establishment. Look at the modern Catholic faith. I mean, it's full of pedophilia and decadence, moral depravity. And not only that, but modern Catholics are more likely to completely ignore everything the church has ever taught. And it's under the guise of personal liberty, freedom, and all that other stuff, when it's not. I mean, look at Biden is a Catholic. Pelosi is a Catholic. I mean, this is absurd. One of the marks of the true church is that it's Catholic, in the sense it's universal, and it's one. Okay, and it's holy, and it's apostolic. Okay, we're not one right now, or at least the modern church is not one. The traditional Catholic faith will always be one. It'll be smaller, but it will be one. Because if you don't accept those things, those basic things that you need to accept in order to be part of the church, in order to worship God correctly, you're out. I mean, you can go to whatever religion you want. I mean, nobody's stopping you. So I would say this is a perfect invitation for any Catholic to consider the traditional Catholic faith, to find a traditional Catholic parish around you, and to participate in the Latin Mass. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.